Okay. Hi, Yvette. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you. Thank you for coming on the show. Nice to see you.
A pleasure to be here. I love sharing and I love meeting new people, so I'm excited about today.
Well, I'm excited to have you on the show. Let's see. Let's start with you are the founder of DestinySpeak Incorporated. Tell us about DestinySpeak.
I am Destiny Speak. I created several years ago as a way of really helping people in corporate leadership, those in leadership, to really be able to reach their full potential, whether it be the organization or individuals. And so, my ideal mission is to help leaders create that healthy culture where people can really thrive because I've seen and coach so many people who have been really hurt or damaged or not really handled properly in organizations. And so I'm here to help organizations as well as those individuals in there. I had someone recently just refer to me as a changeologist, and they were saying that's because I come in and I'm helping bringing people from where they are to where they need to be. So I was like, I like that. I'm going to take that on as a title.
Yeah, changeologist. That's good. So, do people hire you? Are you a consultant? Like you would be hired by a company to come in and fix whatever's ailing them?
Yeah, I'm hired. Brought in for a couple of reasons. One is um, they need to put some fire underneath people. They feel people are backing up. They need to bring people closer together. I worked with an organization most recently on they were bringing teams together that did not normally work together, and so they had to find that synergy between those between all the teams and how they were going to work together. So we did some workshops and things like that. I also come in and help organizations change and go from have a real strategic implementation plan, and really work through it from a change management, which is again why that changeologist title kind of like really felt like it was right. So it's like, how do we get from where we are to where we want to be, whether it's structural in our organization, but also really optimizing the people around them, because too often organizations look outside of the team or outside of the organization for people to come in and help them, and you really have that talent there, you just haven't tapped into it. And the same thing when you're bringing teams together, you want to make sure I absolutely made sure that those teams recognized the strengths that each of them brought to the group, so that as they were trying to figure out how are we going to work together, how we're blending all of these responsibilities and skills that we worked in very silos. So how do we bring that all together to really make it work well? And so that's how when organizations bring me in.
I've had other people on the show who do similar work to you, quality management, quality improvement. And I know that in American corporations, they have changed quite a bit over the years in terms of management style. It used to be sort of like the military, where you had the one CEO who was the boss and everybody just did what they were told. And there wasn't a lot of input from the employees. I know that that has changed over the years. Is there one particular thing that you notice when you go to various companies that still hasn't changed or is still a problem consistent with a lot of these companies?
Well, you do have those who are those dictatorial, like that military style, and it comes with a facade, right? We want to hear from you. We really want your collaboration, but at the end of the day, we're going to do what I want, which is really, that's really not
Yeah.
what you want, right? And then I'm finding that we did like a whole 180 where it was like, I'm telling you what you want. This is how you're going to develop. And now individuals are responsible for their own development, but yet they aren't privy to the same information in the same rooms that their leaders are in. And so now they feel abandoned, where I'm left alone and I have to figure out what my next is when I haven't really had the support or the information coming to me, so I know where I can grow, where I can expand, where I can help the organization. And so I find now that um, those organizations that are being very successful are the ones who are sharing the information. Here's the idea, here's where we want to go, but they're very open to the individuals coming alongside them and say, now here's what we think, here's how we think you can go. Because you have people at different levels in the organization who are hearing different things. And when you bring all that together, then you're going to get a far better product and outcome in your change, and not be afraid for the resistance. I think a lot of people have really adapted that change management philosophy, and I'm certified in change management. And so when I go in, I really say, don't be afraid of the resistance. Actually, you want to lean into it because it's very telling. And when you lean into that resistance, you're going to learn a lot more, as opposed to feeling like I got to carry this weight, I know best. And so more and more people are starting to lean in that way. They just don't necessarily maybe know how to handle those difficult conversations, making sure their ego and the biases get out of the way. And so that's where I come in, and I can help facilitate those, because I'm neutral party, right? And nobody's threatened by, am I really going to dictate one way or the other? I'm just here for the truth, and with a heart for what really is being asked to be accomplished.
Do you think it's more difficult to implement what you're doing in a company that has tens of thousands of people, or one that maybe has 100 people?
It depends on if the organization has had enough pain that they know that they need to change. And I think we're really in a really prime time where many, many organizations are feeling the pain of the great resignation, people leaving, those left behind are having to take on more work, and leaders are understanding they need to do something different. It cannot be business as usual. And so now more and more are being open to it. So where prior to pandemic and prior to the last 3 years and such, it may have been more difficult, but we're starting to see a level playing field where more are willing to at least bring you in and I'm a speaker, so I can come in as a speaker and start to set that groundwork before I even come in and engage as a consultant or coach or in that manner.
Okay, you mentioned the pandemic, and one of the things that came out of the pandemic was a huge uptick in people working remotely because of lockdowns and isolations and quarantines. Right off the top, it looks like it's a great idea for the reasons of no more commuting, you save gas, you save time, you save the aggravation of sitting in traffic. But we haven't really seen the bad side of it yet. Do you think there's going to be a bad side, or do you think it's all good?
I think what it is highlighting for us is where you have some gaps in really leading people as opposed to managing people. And there's a big difference. When you're managing people, you're micromanaging, you're looking over their shoulders, you're dictating how they're doing things and when they're doing it, and you're watching when they're coming and going. That's not going to work well, nor does the remote workplace avail itself to that. However, when you have someone who says, okay, I recognize that I just need to set the direction, I need to be available and communicate what is needed, and be available to share that information with my teams so that they can carry out their expertise, their experiences, their end of the deal, then remote, it's not an issue, right? Now, where people are struggling is I need that contact. How do I touch my people? Do I need to touch them? Do I need to touch them, right? Is a question. Or are they very, or can I take can I take them from where they are to being high performing? And that takes trust, which allows more of that collaboration when you can come together, when it's meaningful and not just as a watchdog. And that's what I think we're seeing.
I think a lot of people were challenged by the scheduling when they all of a sudden found themselves at home. And if they had young children, they had to try to balance, well, I need my time to work and I can't be bothered, but the kids are going to be there, and maybe the dog is there, and who knows what else is there. So I think there was a an adjustment period for the worker just as well as with the company, yeah?
Right. And the leader actually, and the rest of the people who are around them really can help with that. Right. Are you welcoming, and just when the child comes on the screen or accidentally hits a key on the laptop, and the individual is saying, I'm sorry, that was my kid, and the people on the other side of that say, oh, no worries, let's see him, or let's see her, or let me see your pet, or whatever, and really now you really get a greater balance, because people are now welcoming your family life into that workspace very intimately, and people are very understanding. You have somebody ring the doorbell all of a sudden, and you weren't expecting it, and you feel like you have to respond to that. People are open and kind, because they know life happens, and life has always happened. We just weren't here to really respond to it in the way that we're responding to now. But people are really giving, and they're interested. I think they're becoming more interested in each other's life, as long as you're open to life happening as we're creating great things for the organizations that we work for.
Well, I think it's a good icebreaker too. Like you said, it sort of humanizes the whole experience of
Absolutely.
working.
We hear about, there's two extremes, right? I've heard about where there's been exercise workshops and things, and people, you go through these icebreakers, and people say, nobody ever asked me about my family life. Nobody ever asked me how I'm feeling or what I'm doing on vacation. They just allowed me to come in, do my work, and leave. That's a poor reflection on the fact that we don't care about the people around us. And now this whole hybrid and remote is allowing people to have a heart and bring the heart back into the business. So I do care. And we talk about, your vacation. We talk about your daughter getting married. We talk about your son in the race car competition and things like that. And that's amazing. That really humanizes the work experience.
Yeah, I agree with you. We got just a couple of minutes left. I want to get your book in here. The book is called Conquering Corporate Enemies. Who's the book designed for? Is it designed for CEOs or for everybody?
The book is designed for leaders to help them become better leaders, and for individuals to understand that they are not alone, because of the things that I've gone through, the things that some of my clients have gone through that are recounted in those stories, people I've mentored. So I think a CEO, because everything falls back to the leadership. We can't deny that, right? And the more that the CEO understands and is willing to reinforce, the better. And so then their leaders know how to really treat people more effectively, and really build relationships. We say relationship is a part of our selling and marketing. Well, it also needs to be a part of our human experience with those who are helping us build the vision.
Okay, great. Well, I think on that note, we're going to have to wind this down. Unfortunately, we have gone out of time. Thank you so much for coming on. Do you have a website that you want to give out?
Thank you for having me. And my website is www.destinyspeak.com.
Okay, and there's information on there about the book and how to buy it, where to buy it, yeah?
It's information about that book and my other book, No Bosses Allowed, Lead to Serve and Transform. There's information about my programs that I offer and how you can engage with me, my coaching and all.
Great. Well,
and
Yvette,
there's some free resources too.
super. Yvette, thanks so much for coming on the show. It was nice meeting you. Great talking to you. Best of luck with everything you're doing.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate your time and your audience.